Hi, this is Dee at Aloha, Astro. Let's take a look at the moon transiting Libra today, July 2nd. Moon transiting Libra, Wednesday, July 2nd, should be accompanied by an announcer's voice saying, "But wait, there's more," as the moon in an aesthetically pleasing and intellectually stimulating air sign forms a mystic rectangle with Mercury in Leo, Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and Pluto in Aquarius, which enhances the showy and magnetic Grand Trine and Kite, which formed yesterday and are still in place today, continuing to bring their manifesting potential to anyone desiring more love, money, success, or recognition in their life. Mystic rectangle sounds like a name promising a magical intervention or the ability to do something supernatural. But the magic comes quietly from within you when you decide to focus your attention on yes and moving forward rather than no and standing still. The two trines and two sextiles connecting the four corners of that rectangle contain the tension of two oppositions inside the box, which is like yoking the power of four horses to a stagecoach. It is the driver with the reins in hand who makes effective use of the horsepower. The planets and signs in today's mystic rectangle speak of acting passionately on important decisions or desires, or impressing others with creativity, passion, intelligence, mastery, and the quiet power of self-assurance. A person pleased with themselves, their life, and their accomplishments shares more positive energy with others, has more to give materially, or shines as someone to learn from or emulate. So don't let the T-square of the Moon, Sun and Jupiter, and Pluto, and the square between Pluto and Chiron, as well as the opposition of Pluto to Mercury, convince you to settle for less or hold you back from becoming more. Fear and negative thoughts grow bigger if you focus your attention on them, so just don't. Mercury in Leo imparts a royal vibe to help you speak with courage and confidence. Your words are charming and persuasive, and you can draw others in through the enthusiasm of sharing what you find beautiful, exciting, or enlightening. So here you can see that Grand Trine that was in place yesterday with the Moon in Libra, Venus conjunct Uranus in Taurus, and Pluto in Aquarius. And the bigger kite that Grand Trine feeds into, that's topped by the Saturn and Neptune conjunction in Aries. Then we've got that T-square here with the Moon, Sun and Jupiter in Cancer, and Saturn and Neptune in Aries. The mystic rectangle is the new energy of the day, and it is a very powerful aspect pattern that doesn't happen all that often. So definitely look at the seemingly impossible or improbable things in your life, or the things that everybody else says, "Oh, you can never do that, that won't work," or "We've already tried, that won't happen." And that's usually where you can apply the energy of a mystic rectangle to get the best results. It just gives that quiet moving forward of, well, I don't care what everybody else has done. I haven't tried it yet, so let me see what I can do. And very often coming in with that attitude of, I don't care what everybody else has done. I'm just going to keep moving forward, and usually everything falls into place. And it's the person with that attitude that boxes in. They use the energy of that mystic rectangle to take the tensions of two oppositions, which is a lot of power. An opposition can feel like two magnets being held so that they resist and repel each other. That's a lot of force. But, if those magnets are pushing away from each other, they're not being very effective. And what we have in here is the equivalent of, with Mercury opposing Pluto and the Moon opposing Saturn and Neptune, massive force being generated, massive, particularly power, resistance, the decision perhaps that I'm going to wrestle this. I'm going to wrestle this until I control it, until I have the upper hand in this situation. That basically your feelings, your thoughts, your will, your faith, your determination, all those things are represented by Mercury, the moon, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune. And where there's a will, there is a way. So you have the planetary support today to do that. The things to kind of tiptoe around are, of course, the T-square and this freestanding square here with Pluto and Chiron. That can literally have you very uncertain or afraid as to whether you are capable. Why should you think so big? Why should you be that powerful? And the same thing with Mercury and Leo. But that Mercury in Leo is a bit of a tease because it's also getting supported. See, Chiron doesn't have support, but Mercury does. And Mercury says, oh yeah, well, you can prove it to yourself. You can prove it to everybody else. Just go ahead and face that big scary thing, and you'll find out that it's actually a lot smaller than you thought it was. Mars is squaring Venus and Uranus, but we have Venus and Uranus well supported elsewhere, so that's our other freestanding square producing some tension, and actually that can bring in a little bit of wanting to control your impulses or your desires until you figure out whether it's going to be practical or safe. Because Mars in Virgo can be quite pragmatic and practical, and Mars is a very physical, material planet. So there can be a little bit of a, like, oops, is this going to be safe? Will it work out? Or am I going to lose something? Am I going to lose something materially? Or will I be accepted or will I be rejected? Should I try and put all my energy in or not? There's no guarantee of success or failure in that square. You don't know until you try, is basically what it's saying. Give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? So think about what's the worst that can happen before you begin, but know that the Grand Trine, the Kite, and the Mystic Rectangle are definitely more in favor of anything that is progressive or is aiming for you having more or becoming more. That's it for today. It's a very powerful day. Make good use of it, and I'll be back again tomorrow.